All right, UFC 280 is just around the corner. What probably will end up being the most stat card of the year is already upon us. Lots of big statements are going to be made with this card. And I haven't covered UFC or MMA on this channel yet. I've just got back into it sometime a year ago. It was my first time, at least when it was a year ago, it was like my first time watching MMA since towards the end of Anderson Silva's reign. So that was like 9 years ago. But since October, November of 2021, I have just been watching MMA. This entire year, I've dedicated numerous Saturdays to watching cards. I've been really loving it. And I figured, when should I cover this on my YouTube channel? Because, MMA is something that I really grown to love now. So why not for the biggest card of the year? I'm really excited for it. And this video is going to be me doing my predictions and my bettings on the main card. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So we'll just get right into it. So the one thing I want to disclaim is that everybody starts at somewhere, right? So I'm not going to be the most knowledgeable in all the fighters. A lot of this is going to be subjective, as well as have my bias in there. And yeah, a lot of these are going to be my opinion. And so yeah, these are just what I have to think. So let's just get into predicting the card. All right, here we go. I'm really excited for this card. So let's go all the way down. We'll start from the bottom of the main card and up. First off, we have Caitlyn Chookagian versus Manon Firat. Now, apologies for any mispronunciations. Um, Here's the thing. I've only seen one of these fighters fight live, and that would be Caitlyn. I know that both these fighters have fought at least once previously this year, but I've only seen Caitlyn fight before, and that was on the same card as Jan Blachowicz. I can't pronounce it. Former light heavyweight champion on that same card. And she won by split decision, I believe. Number one ranked women's flyweight, winning by split decision. And she's actually the underdog against Firat. Isn't Firat coming off of an injury? That's why this fight was on this card rather than a previous one. I mean, chances are she wouldn't be fighting unless she was fit and ready to go. So that should be a factor. I'm kind of acknowledging my incompetence here. That I'm not really too knowledgeable of these two fighters, so I don't know where this could go. And let's be honest, on this main card, we don't care much about this fight. I might just have to go with Firat because actually I don't know. I really don't know. I can't really remember how Caitlyn's fight went. I just remember it ended in split decision. Um, you know, I don't know. I don't waste your time. Let's just go with Firat because she might have more momentum with a unanimous decision instead of the split decision of Caitlyn. Okay, moving on. Um, Interesting lightweight bout we have here. Benil Darwish versus Matwez Gamroth. Once again, apologies for the mispronunciation. Um, I did catch Gamroth's fight earlier this year. He had a main event against Armin something. Can't pronounce his last name. He had a pretty good performance. This is definitely going to be a grappling bout. When people first get to MMA, a common thing is that they find wrestling boring. It kind of appears like they're just laying on top of each other and such. But when wrestling does get very entertaining, it's when it's competitive, when both wrestlers are very competent in their grappling and they're both finding ways to take control and such. This should be a really interesting fight. Um, Gamrot's the favorite despite being the lower ranked. Is his victory over Oman um, more selling than Darwish's victory over Tony Ferguson last year? Um, very interesting. Well, I might have to go with Gamrot on this because, well, he's the only fighter that I've seen fight live, and I know that beating Tony Ferguson is a big deal. At least it was when Darwish and Ferguson fought. But I don't know. I'm just might have to go with Gamrot on this. Let's get subjective. Um, and we are really excited for these three fights right here, starting with Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. Man, the fact that this fight even exists is kind of crazy. At least in this point of time, is crazy. I mean, I'm surprised that both of these guys took this fight. I mean, Sean O'Malley, like apart from the champion, could not have a bigger step up in competition. Whereas with Petr Yan, he, as far as rankings goes, finding the number 12 ranked fighter as the number one ranked fighter is not really going to build up your stock that much for the bout. But here it is. Now, if you'd asked me, let's say before UFC 273, I would have said Yan steamrolls through Mally. He makes it look easy dub, right? Because we thought that Yan, well, not we, a lot of people thought that Jan would absolutely run through Sterling in their rematch, who is also on this card. But we didn't get that. What we got in Jan versus Sterling 2 was a very competitive fight. That was really close. I thought that Jan won the fight, but it was not a robbery to give it to Sterling because that first round, it all came down to that first round, and it was very uneventful, very slow, and very close. So so now I would say, well, I would normally think that Jan would run through Sean O'Malley, but this is MMA. Anything is possible, as what Sterling has proved. Sean O'Malley could beat Petr Yan. There is something that is in Sean O'Malley's favor. It's that it's 3 rounds. Yan is a notoriously slow starter. A big reason why that fight went to Sterling was that first round. You know, so Sean O'Malley might be able to steal the first 2 rounds. Maybe survive and get the decision, but as far as resume goes, Petr Yan just has the way better resume. Jose Aldo, Corey Sandhagen. He destroyed Sterling in that first fight before the illegal knee. Uriah Faber. Whereas Sean O'Malley has not. He's fought a few, ranked fighters, but he has not beaten any. With losing to Cheeto. I don't remember if Cheeto was ranked at the time, but he lost to Cheeto, who is now ranked, as well as the no contest with Pedro Munoz. So, I have to go with Jan on this. If I'm gonna bet money, I'm gonna have to bet on Jan. I also hold Jan in high regard. I think Sean O'Malley is good. I think he is stronger than like Corey Sandhagen. Those are similar size. I think that while Jan was able to deal with Corey Sandhagen well, Sean O'Malley is probably stronger, so he has a chance. But if I'm gonna bet money, I'm gonna bet on Jan. But should be a good fight, and I hope it is. And I hope it doesn't end in a disqualification and all that. I hope we get a statement. But another bantamweight bout that's going to be really interesting is the current champion, Aljamain Sterling, versus TJ Dillashaw, the former champion. Um, this is a tough matchup to decide. I mean, I really don't know. Um, so I will say is that so looking at the bettings as of the Sunday before the fight, um, Sterling is the favorite, and I could kind of see why. A lot of people, including myself, hold Jan very highly. Um, so if TJ Dillashaw is better or worse than Petr Yan, as the former champion, it's probably not going to be that much. So if Jan versus Sterling was a close fight, or Jan versus Sterling 2 was a close fight, then Sterling versus Dillashaw is probably a good close fight too, as well. So, Dillashaw might be able to edge it out because a few things. One, he's going to have his full camp with him, and Jan did not. And I think that was a factor in Jan losing. But TJ Dillashaw will have his full camp, and he's not as notoriously a slow starter as Jan is. So, he's probably going to hit the gas right away and going to give Sterling less chances to survive on the feet. So that's why I do think he might perform better than Jan. Not that I'm saying that I think he's better than Jan. I'm not really making any statement between Dillashaw or Jan, but he might perform better this time around. But Aljamain Sterling might be able to get him down, lock him in that tight body triangle that he has, and just take control. But that's not to say that Dillashaw doesn't have strong wrestling credentials either. Um, Dillashaw's coming off a knee injury, so that's gonna be a factor. He's past his prime. Man, this is really tough. I don't know who's gonna win. I don't even know who I want to win because both these guys have. I mean, no hate for any of these two guys, but they haven't really given me much reasons to root for them that much either. So, I just hope it's another good fight. I think that if Dillashaw wins, then that means Jan will get the title shot sooner. I don't think that Jan should get the title shot right away if he beats Sean O'Malley, but definitely sooner than selling Sterling versus Jan 3. So I don't know who's going to win. We'll just leave it at that. Hope it's a good fight. Now, last but not least, the fight that I'm so nervous for, that the people are the most excited for, is probably the biggest reason why this card is so stacked. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev for the vacant lightweight title. Fully admitting my bias here, I want Charles Oliveira to win. In my eyes, he's the uncrowned champ. So well rounded. The lightweight division is probably my favorite division in the UFC in terms of star power, in terms of fighters I want to see fight. In terms of having the majority of my favorite fighters in one division. Charles Oliveira is one of my favorite fighters. Um, of course, I want him to win, and I think that he has a very good chance. I mean, as we all know, he's dangerous on the ground. He's the most decorated finisher in UFC history, as well as a great striking game, as he's proved. But Islam Makhachev, I haven't seen him fight much. Actually, the only fight that I've seen from him live was against Bobby Green. And while that was a dominant performance, Bobby Green was not ranked when they fought. He did not stand a chance, obviously. So as far as resume goes, it's hard for me to root against Charles. But if Islam is as dominant in wrestling as, people are comparing him as like the new coming of Khabib, and as if he is in as high regard as Khabib holds him, then Islam might be able to neutralize Charles Jiu-Jitsu. I know that Dagestan wrestling is different from Jiu-Jitsu. Um, Islam's going to probably have a really high gas tank. He's going to be very powerful, and he's going to have a lot of cardio. You know what I mean? Charles has never gone to a fourth round before, so that's very interesting to think about and to consider. So yeah, I don't know who's going to win this. I mean, my heart's telling me Charles Oliveira, but the more experienced and the more hardcore fans, there are some that say, yeah, Islam's probably going to take this. But I'm just really nervous because, I want Charles to win. No hate against Islam, no hate against him. But, man, it's really hard to say. Both these guys are riding large win streaks. Both of them are riding a lot of confidence. Man, man, I am extremely nervous for this fight. I really am. But this is another one that's going to come up inconclusive. Um, but in terms of who I want to win, I'm gonna have to go with the champion has a name to me, and to me that's Charles Oliveira. So those are my thoughts. Oops, sorry there. Those are my thoughts. UFC 280. Um, by all means, if you have discovered me, you know, through MMA, then please comment down below your picks. Who do you think is gonna win? Why? Like I know that I have a lot of holes in like my subjective explanations. So by all means, please educate me on what makes these fights, what decides these. And yeah, maybe I'll post my reaction after. This probably won't be the last time I cover MMA, but we'll see. But yeah, UFC 280, super excited, super excited. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below your thoughts. I'll catch you guys next time.